Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Stevie B. And just like I said, Dante Hightower went out there, tested the market, and the Patriots, and obviously this is what's being reported today. Everyone's, all of a sudden coming out and saying, well, then, the Patriots, did right by him, yada, 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 let him test the market, came back to them, and they said, okay, now we know what your market is. That was pretty much the deal. We and they did the same thing with Devin McCourty a few years back. It's rare that they do it with a player, but it's usually with one of their own that is it tends to be a centerpiece or a vital player. Um, in this case, Dante Hightower being that middle linebacker that can do it all for you, and calls that defense and pretty much and has grown in that defense to knowing where everyone's supposed to be, knowing what Bill wants to happen on the field. That to me is the biggest signing of all of them. It's making sure you solidify that young, uh, dominant linebacker that you have in the middle of the field. I'm still waiting to see what happens with Butler. I wouldn't be surprised if they came to a long-term deal with him, but at the same time, I'm not sure that he's. We gotta find out the details of Hightower's contract to shed more light on that. If Hightower's getting around 10, then Butler's gonna obviously looking for around 10. I believe Logan Ryan's got around 10. Um, and we're talking per year, obviously, but and at least that's what the breakdown looks like in the contracts. But it really has to do with whether or not he he values himself the same way the Patriots do. And I think the Patriots are underselling him, but there's a reason they're doing it. I'm not sure why. Um, I can understand his height being an issue, but I believe if you couple that with the fact that they have Eric Rowe, who has a little bit of length, you know, I mean, you couple that with Gilmore as well. I really think Butler becomes your toughest corner. He may not be your longest, but he's your toughest, and his technique is impeccable. Um, I just really don't see exactly what's happening there and what trade they would make, or what need they would to make a trade. But why would you need to make a trade with Butler? What do you need, and why do you need to get rid of him unless there's disgruntled nature, unless there's some disgruntled issues? If this rolls in the training, if this rolls along for a couple more weeks without any news, then you kind of got to assume that this is going to be a problem. Because Butler still hasn't signed a tender. But end of the day, Hightower acquired, or is re-signing, and that's really the biggest one. Um, if they didn't, get Coney Ely, they would have found some other defensive end to fill that spot. If they didn't, I like the signing of Rex Burkhead. Burkhead is, I think he's another guy who you can pound the ball with and game plan around pounding the ball with. You can, Blunt had 18 touchdowns last year, but they weren't all him. A lot of it is just being that big power back, and the Patriots being able to execute in the red zone and block well and get the ball into the end zone. Heck, we've seen White get the ball into the end zone 3 times in the Super Bowl, and once off of the strength of his own back. So I like the signing of Burkhead. He fits. I feel like he fits, and those two signings, I see the Patriots. Obviously, we knew where the holes were. They were looking to fill. They filled that tight end with Bennett being in free agency. Dwayne Allen. They filled that running back with Blunt being in free agency. Burkhead, and they were going to have to re-sign Dante Hightower. We knew it was going to be back. So those are the holes that left last season. And then you reanimate your offense a little bit with the emergence of what Brady can do with Hogan, and you add Cooks, and then you add, and I believe you add in Dwayne Allen. Okay, no shot on Martellus Bennett, but I think we add something with Dwayne Allen. in our running game, and I'm mostly in the running game, but I believe he can equal what the output that Bennett had in the passing game. Obviously being able to work with Brady, and Gronk back is Gronk back for however long or however short that might be, or they find some way to work him around the whole season. Very excited about the moves because then you upgrade the secondary on defense. You lose Ryan, but you get Gilmore. The team's upgraded after filling holes with potentially better players than were there before. Ely's an upgrade. I believe Ely's an upgrade. Dwayne Allen is at the very least a stalemate. And a little more athletically versatile than Bennett. Gilmore, upgrade. On top of what was already, we were good, okay? A lot of people want to say that the Patriots defense was suspect, but at the end of the day, those guys were there to make every play. Those guys were on the ball or the player when 90% of the time. And that counts for something. And I believe the addition of Gilmore is to help these solid corners and this solid secondary that is in the right place get a little more length to it. And that's the biggest thing. If he can do everything that they can already do in our defense, and he can learn to play tougher based on our scheme, it opens up, the whole secondary to be able to move around a lot more. At least guys can count on each other a little bit more. Guys can take more chances and look to anticipate and get those turnovers. But I like what the Patriots have done. I think we all have. I'm just happy with the re-signing of Dont'a Hightower. It was all about testing the market. Free agency is going a little bit different than maybe a lot of people would have expected this year. Everyone's signing fast, which is good. It just means people are really looking to gear up and fill holes. And this is a year-round process, and everyone's sort of got this is energy to what's going on for next NFL season. And the draft hasn't even hit yet. Bennett goes to Green Bay. That definitely helps out Aaron Rodgers. I believe where did Blunt go? I gotta look that up. But I like that signing specifically because Rodgers has not. I don't feel he's had a legitimate tight end threat to help him, as well as a blocker in there, a guy that can make a blitzer, a blitzing team think twice, make those teams that are trying to come after them because of the suspect offensive line think a little bit, because they can keep Bennett in there, but at the same time he may release. So it's a really, really good addition, and Rodgers, he will get the best out of Bennett, and I believe Bennett will help open up the field for him. After that, everything else needs to be sort of figured out for me. Everyone's thoughts on whether Kirk Cousins would be traded, whether or not the Patriots will eventually let go of Jimmy Garoppolo. I really don't think they want to let him go. However, I think Cleveland's waiting for the draft. I know they've obviously made the offer, but I don't think they've offered the number one pick yet. I doubt they've done that. That's why they've stockpiled a couple more. Let's see what happens. Patriots are winning though. I think they're the favorites for the Super Bowl. I think everybody does. Pittsburgh's slacking. I think they could do a lot more to improve their defense. And maybe there just wasn't that much out there, or maybe nobody wanted to go to Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh's going to have some trouble because Ben's getting old. And Ben's getting beat up every year. And if Ben goes down, Pittsburgh has no chance to win anything. And otherwise, they're contenders because of him, not because of the weapons they give him. It's because of him, The linebackers are good. Y'all need to make sure y'all solidify that secondary. the NFL is all up in the air, you know. But the Patriots, everyone knows what they are based on what we were last year, but yet it's far above and away, crazy how much better they've gotten. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Stevie B out.